Rice is a popular staple food around the world. To meet the growing demand, some farmers began cultivating hybrid rice, but this requires lots of chemical fertilizer. The excessive use of chemical fertilizers and intensive monocropping has made crops susceptible to pests and diseases. One such major disease is fall smut of rice. As a result, farmers have increasingly relied on toxic pesticides, harming their health, damaging the environment, and putting themselves into debt. In this video, we will learn how to recognize fall smut and how you can manage it without using harmful agrochemicals. Fall smut is a fungus that causes chalkiness of grains, which reduces grain weight and negatively affects milling, cooking, and eating. Fall smut also reduces seed germination. You may see the symptoms during panicle formation, particularly when the spikelets begin to ripen during foggy weather. During that stage, orange velvety spore balls of about 1 centimeter cover some of the individual grains in a panicle. Later on, these balls turn greenish black.
இப்போ நாங்க நெல்லி நடுவோம் நெல்லி நடும்போது வேற வாயின வந்து வேற விட்டு நெல்லி நடுவோம் நெல்லி நடும்போது
The diseased grains cannot be used as seed for the next season, or else the next year's crop will also get affected. So, I buy new seeds from an organic farmer for sowing. This adds to the cost. But if the crop is infected with this disease, the harvest cannot be sold at a good price because the price fully depends on the quality of the grains. So, this disease causes a great loss of income.
The fungus has tiny seeds, which are called spores. The spores are spread by wind and by diseased rice seeds. The spores can survive in the soil or on weeds from one season to the next. Now that we know what false smut of rice looks like and how it spreads, let us see how to manage it. Always use healthy seeds from varieties that are resistant to fall smut. Ask your extension agent to recommend a variety or use a local variety that you know is resistant to fall smut.
நான் இயற்கை விவசாயம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன்.
I use organic seeds to grow paddy. When the disease occurs, the field next to me is affected by the disease, but the attack on my field is very, very low. I harvest the resistant dried seeds from my field, dry them well, and store them for the next crop.
In addition to using quality seed, soak the seeds in water of 50 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. 50 degrees is when the water is just barely too hot to touch. Do not get the rice seed too hot for too long or you will kill your seed.
I fill 2 containers of the same size with an equal amount of water. One of the pots I bring to boil. I then pour the boiled water and the cold water into another larger container. I soak the seeds in this container for 10 minutes. It will kill the germs. Immediately after this, I soak the seeds in cool water for 5 minutes. It will quickly end the heat treatment.
The hot water bath kills the fungal spores on the seed. But also, the field may be infected with spores. So it is best to treat the seeds with a beneficial fungus like trichoderma. Use 5 to 10 grams, which is 1 to 2 teaspoons of trichoderma per kilogram of seed. Use gloves and a face mask while applying the trichoderma powder, as it contains talc that may enter your nose and create allergy. If you cannot find trichoderma in the agro shop, you can also treat your seeds with cow urine, as it has antifungal properties. Mix half a liter of cow urine with 2.5 liters of water and soak 1 kilogram of rice seeds into the solution for 30 minutes. Dry the seeds in the shade before sowing. The false rice smut fungus grows best when it is warm, moist and rainy. By planting early, you ensure that the crop is not flowering during the foggy season.
நெல்லி நட்டா கதிர் வரும்.
This disease is most prevalent when the panicles start to ripen in water. If we plant early, then our harvest will also be early before the disease comes in.
நாங்கள் நெல்லி நட்டா அந்த பழி வராது.
Your field will be too wet if it is continuously flooded. Let the field dry out after irrigating it. Irrigate your field up to 2.5 centimeters deep and then let it dry completely. After 4 to 7 days, once the soil is dry enough, irrigate it again. Too much nitrogen makes the crop more susceptible to diseases. So use only moderate amounts of nitrogen-rich manures. For instance, if you have chicken manure, do not add more than 1 ton per hectare. During grain formation, spray an organic growth promoter like wormy wash on the plant. This helps the crop to build up resistance to the disease. Wind can spread the fungal spores from a diseased field to a healthy one. Grow crops that are taller than rice, such as maize or sorghum, as a border around your field so the disease cannot easily enter your field. Whenever you see fall smut, prepare a solution with leaves of basil or beetle vine. It will cure the crop by killing the disease in the early stage. Grind half a kilogram of leaves and mix it in 10 liters of water. Once prepared, spray the solution onto the entire field. Do this once a week in the evening. Always use a hand sprayer to spray the solution. Never use a power sprayer, as the high speed will spread any spores in the air. Weeds can also carry the spores of the fungus, so always keep the field bunds and irrigation canals clean. As fungal spores can stick to the rice seeds and carry over the disease to the next season, remove all infected panicles.
பிடிச்சி போட்டு எடையை கொண்டு போய் ஊற்றிடுவோம்.
I safely collect the infected rice grains in the field. I take a vessel with hot water, pick the diseased grains, and carefully put them into the vessel. By doing so, the spores on the affected grains are not spread through the air. I will take this vessel away from the field, dig a pit, and pour it into the pit.
Fungal spores also survive on plant debris left after harvest. One deep plow after harvest is enough to kill most of the spores. Avoid plowing with heavy machines as much as possible, as it will compact the soil.
When we harvest the crop, some spores may be present on crop residues and in the soil. When we deep plow, it will bury the infested residues. Also, it will allow sunlight to penetrate and kill the fungus in the soil.
So, what have we learned? False smut is one of the major diseases in rice. It causes grains to get a chalky color and texture, which affects milling and cooking. To manage this disease, use healthy seeds from a resistant variety. Before sowing, soak the seeds in very warm water for 10 minutes. Then dip the seeds in normal water and treat them with a beneficial fungus such as trichoderma. If you don't have trichoderma, soak a kilogram of rice seeds in a half liter of cow urine mixed with 2.5 liters of water. Plant early to avoid the disease. Keep your field from getting too wet. Let it dry after a deep irrigation. Keep the field bunds and irrigation canals free of weeds. Plant taller crops like maize as a border around your rice field. Use moderate rates of nitrogen-rich manure and spray organic growth promoters like vermiwash. Whenever you see false smut, prepare a solution with leaves of basil or beetle vine and spray once a week. Remove infected panicles. If you had problems with false smut, deep plow your field once after harvest. By growing a healthy crop, you will get a bountiful harvest.